Hello everyone. I previously spoke about why I left India. I mentioned reasons like the market, the economy, currency, future, and I got so much hate for that. A lot of people calling me names, wishing bad for me, etc. So I wanted to make a follow-up video to that, explaining the problems in detail and why I'd probably never return. Firstly, return on investment. When I say ROI, I don't just mean the actual money invested, but your hard work. If you're a person with no quotas, you work extra hard in school because you have to score so much higher to get into a good college than the ones with quotas. It is so bad that people with negative grades end up becoming doctors while your hard work is spit on. After being forced to, let's say, settle in a worse college, you work hard again to land a good paying job. You finally land a good paying job and you're taxed to death in the name of development. But deep down, you know that there is hardly any development happening in India, and all your tax is either being lost to corruption or given away to buy votes. The roads you travel on look like this. The air quality is so bad that you'll probably die sooner than someone smoking regularly. The rivers that people consider divine look like this. If you're a middle class person with no generational wealth, you pay tax on income, you spend what's left that is taxed, you invest the remaining that is taxed, you finally save up enough money to buy property that is again taxed. Maybe it is worth it for the growth of the country, right? Well, no, because it's not going for the development. Look at this. India and China's GDP was head to head just a few decades ago. Now, China's GDP is comparable to the US, while we're boasting about beating Pakistan in life expectancy. Singapore was not even a country when India got its independence, and now it's one of the richest countries on the planet, while we still fight over religion. Korea survived a devastating war in the 1950s, and now it's technologically more advanced than India will ever be in the foreseeable future. Japan was nuked to the ground literally after World War II, and it is probably the best country to live in right now. You can be blinded with patriotism, but it does not hide the fact that the country is being laughed at globally. If a person is paying 50 to 60% of his or her earned income in tax, either directly or indirectly, they have to receive some benefits like good public infrastructure, maybe a bit of healthcare, and a decent standard of living. We are taxed like a first world country, but we receive benefits like a third world country. It's no wonder that India has the largest number of people leaving the country, be it students, working professionals, or even rich people. It's just not worth it. Anyways, I also want to talk about my trip to India last month. I visited India in August during my summer break, and I was honestly excited to be back. I was born and I grew up in Bangalore, and I love the place. So I land and I exit the airplane, and I instantly recognize how bad the air quality is. I've never realized it because I've lived my whole life in Bangalore and it was normal for me. But believe it or not, it is instantly recognizable if you live elsewhere for a while and then return. I was in India for maybe 2 weeks and I fell sick thrice. I don't know if it was the food, the air, the water. This is not supposed to be normal. Traveling anywhere by road is almost impossible, not just because of the traffic, but the conditions of the roads. I've seen fewer potholes in the US in one whole year than I have seen on a single road in India. I'm not even exaggerating. Metro connectivity is almost non-existent, and even the parts that are connected, you can barely breathe inside, let alone stand without being squished into people. Anyways, I stayed in Bangalore for a few days, then I went to Goa with my friends. After that, I went to Bali with my girlfriend. So, Goa is the most popular tourist destination in India, and Bali is the most popular tourist destination in Indonesia. And here are a few things that I noticed. To start off, this is what Goa's most popular area, the Baga Kalangat Road, looks like. Now, here is what Seminyak, the popular road near Seminyak Beach, looks like in Bali. The difference is astonishing. This made me realize that it's not an Asia problem or a population problem, but I hate to say it, it is a culture problem. I'm not saying Indian culture is inherently bad, but we as people have normalized things that are horrible. The people of Bali were so accommodating. Everybody from the hotel staff, cab drivers, food delivery drivers, everybody were incredibly nice. Although we were tourists from another country who didn't even speak the same language, it felt like we were a part of their country. Nobody tried to take advantage of us, and it was the best 8 to 9 days of our lives. In contrast, I don't feel at home even in my own country. I constantly have to fight to not get cheated by either auto or cab drivers. People are so mean all the time. They don't know how to greet one another. People throw garbage everywhere because they think it's someone else's job to pick it up. These things are not normal. The whole time I was in Goa, I did not see a single foreigner, and I wondered why. After I went to Bali, I realized why. If I was used to European or American standards of living, I would be stupid to choose to go to Goa instead of Bali, all things considered. This is not a rant. This is me expressing genuine sadness because of how bad the situation has gotten. Honestly, I don't think democracy is working in India because for it to work, at least half the population should understand economics. At least half the population should know what things to care about. And I don't see that happening because politicians win elections in India based on freebies and not on common sense. I genuinely want India to succeed, but for it to happen, so many things have to change. Firstly, I hate to say it, but civic sense. Everything from cleanliness to being nice to one another is something that is ignored so much, we don't even consider it as a necessity. Every restaurant I go to in the US, people greet and ask how my day is going. It's not small talk, it's courtesy. This, if this cannot be achieved naturally like it did in Japan or the West, I hate to say it, but it has to be done forcefully. Littering, traffic violations, any sort of bribery should be jailable offenses. You might say that it's already a crime, but I'd argue that the punishment is not harsh enough. Just look at the countless stories of UPSC toppers, the ones who want to serve the country, ruining the country. We should make a law which says that whenever a public official takes a bribe, if caught, they should surrender every piece of wealth they own, even the ones that was legally obtained. And it should be a non bailable offense with a minimum sentence of 10 years. And to actually implement this, we need to make it that whoever helps catch bribers, they get a portion of the bribe taking person's property. Yes, I'm suggesting capitalism to be used to solve corruption in India. Secondly, ending quotas. You might start complaining about how there is generational inequality, but I have a solution for that. Firstly, the reason quotas are bad is because the market and real life does not care about what situation a person grew up in. It cares about the output. It does not matter if a surgeon came from one family or another, one religion or another, one caste or another. What matters is his or her ability to successfully complete the surgery. And for that, the person's background has no say in it. The same goes for any industry, be it engineering, tech, science, anything. The counter argument is that people of backward castes who have been historically oppressed, they have dreams of becoming doctors or engineers. Well, I understand the argument, but these people also have dreams of being cricketers. So why not have quotas for the cricket team as well? We somehow understand that if the Indian cricket team had quotas, we would never win a single tournament because talent and hard work is not equally distributed. But we are too stupid or we are too ignorant to realize that that is how every industry works. I'm not saying generational wealth disparity does not exist. It does. You know how to solve that? Have a high inheritance tax and use that tax not to buy votes, but to actually build schools, to actually build other facilities that are necessary across the country, not moving the damn finish line in the race. Thirdly, crime. Honestly, giving credit where it's due, crime is not as bad as in the US. Living in Bangalore, I've never feared for my life, no matter how late I was out or which part of Bangalore I was in. I can't say the same thing about New York or Seattle, but honestly, it can be improved. How follow the countries that have no crime? I'm talking about countries like UAE. All these human rights organizations complain about criminals' human rights, but they never mention the human rights of the victim ever. No person who kills or rapes or commits any major crime on another human should be considered human because he or she chose to invade the human right of another individual. Therefore, should not receive the same empathy that he or she denied the victim. An eye for an eye actually works. Punishment for murder should be death penalty. Punishment for rape should be castration. Punishment for corruption should be confiscation of every piece of wealth ever accumulated, along with imprisonment. Finally, investments. The private sector is what makes or breaks a country, but the government is what enables or hinders the private sector. It does not matter if a company develops the best cars in the world. If the roads are not decent, it's useless. Infrastructure should be a top priority. Bureaucracy should be severely limited. Permits should be given faster, allowing easy access to entrepreneurs to build things. This is what China did, and this is why China is successful. It's not using its taxed income to give freebies, but it's using it to build infrastructure so that the people of China can use it to build wealth and earn for themselves. And to be honest, I don't see any of this being done. And without these things being implemented, I don't see India getting anywhere close to China, anywhere close to Japan, Singapore, or any other developed country. It is not love to blindly cheer for the country, but you need to talk about the shortcomings. You need to point out the problems and try to resolve them. I did want to do these things when I was young, but once I grew up, I realized how hopeless it is to even try. This is not just my opinion, but the opinion of almost everyone who is here. It is so bad that we'd rather be in the middle of the growing anti Indian sentiment worldwide than go back to India. Even if I were to be deported from the US for some reason, I would probably move to Dubai or some other place than back to India. Sadly, Indians are smart. We make great employees, we even make good entrepreneurs, but when it comes to governing, we are horrible. That's why we're successful in all parts of the world except our own country. Anyways, I know this video will receive a lot of hate similar to the previous one, but I don't care anymore, so bring it on in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.